Hey friends, it's February here in the orchard, and I wanted to quickly show you how I make these aluminum tree tags that I label my fruit trees with in the food forest here. And I like to make these tree tags in the wintertime, in between when I've placed my tree orders and when I actually get them into the ground in April and May. So you can see here they're just made out of aluminum, and the aluminum's from old beer cans that I collect and reuse. And I made a jig to do this relatively quickly. So I want to show you how I do that here. So you can see this one is an Italian prune that was planted in 2019. Okay, so we're back inside, and you can see here's one of the tags that I've made for this season. So this is a Aronia, a Viking cultivar for 2023. And one of the reasons I like these tags so much is not only are they aluminum and they're going to last a long time and not rust, but they're not sharp because I folded the edges over, and they're not going to rip out. So once I put the holes that I put in them aren't going to rip out over time because I've got this folded over the back. So I can just buy some wire, which is the only piece that I have to buy for each of these tags, and I just twist it on like this, and I've got a tag that's ready to go onto my Aronia once it arrives in the spring. So I'll show you how I make these. So I start with a aluminum can. I use one of these tall ones because I can get more tags out of them. And these are cans that I've collected that are have those. Some of them have the zippers on the side, not real zippers, but they have a zipper kind of symbol on the plastic cover on them, and they're just really easy. The plastic, you just slide your nail over that and the whole label comes right off, and you don't have to deal with any adhesives at all. So I like to cut these up, and I use an X-Acto knife for that. And I start right here on the edge, and I start with a little bit of knife, and then once I get going, I'll use more of the blade and kind of use it like a saw. So I'll show you that. So there you can see we've got a tube of aluminum. You can take some scissors and cut it in half. There we go. Okay, so you can see this jig that I've made here. I actually start by using the jig to measure 1.5 inch strips of aluminum. So I'll place it on the aluminum like this. I'll line it up like that, as you can see on the other side. And then I take this tool here and I just notch. I press down really hard and notch the aluminum. And after doing that several times, it comes off pretty easily. Now that I've got these strips of aluminum, I use this copied out ruler that I've got here, and I notch where the 2-inch sections are. Just lightly, and then I'll cut them with scissors. So each of these tall cans of beer will give me 12 tree tags, which is great. It's a lot of plants. There we go. Okay, so this is the jig that I've made. This piece here is just what's known as a mending plate, which you can buy for $2 or $3 at a department store. And I've used screws to put it into a 2x4, as you can see. And then what I do is I colored this hole here, these 3 holes. I only use the middle one, black, so that I can see when the aluminum slides up. You can see there, it's covering. I just slide the aluminum in until I can just barely see it coming through the hole. And then I try to make it square and I fold it over. And I like to do this with the inside of the can facing up so that the nice side of the aluminum is the actual face of the tag. And I do this for all 4 sides. Make sure it's about 90 degrees. And then once it's done, I put it over here and I've drilled a hole here, and so I can use this as a hole punch. And then I press against this to just fold any of the sharp edges around the hole. And I've got my first one done, and now it's just ready to be etched and the name etched onto it. And again, I use this tool. So I'll show you how quickly this can go up. Okay, there we go. So 12 of them made up. And now I'll show you just how I etch them. So taking one of these as an example, I just take this tool and then I can write on them. So we have Aronia, another Viking tag for 2023. So yeah, I really like these tree tags. They've worked well for me for the last 4 or 5 years. And I hope you now know how to make your own.